I need my pen. I have.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, hey, nobody said anything to me yet, although I'm on the Zoom, right? fine. Okay, so look, I had a quick question for you. How do I change my friggin' background, man? Okay. Okay, all right, no problem. I just saw that Gary had his own changed, so I was just wondering how easy it was. Okay, no worries, no worries. It won't be, then I won't have a great background. It'll just be my nice little screen, but that's okay. No worries, man. I'm not going to be on for a few seconds anyhow. Yep. Okay, man. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Conference host, K. Darren Turnquest. Darren is an effective communicator with strong team collaboration skills. He's a business expert with a focus on youth development, a skilled public speaker who's delivered speeches in local and international arenas. Darren is well known in the Bahamas and throughout the Caribbean as an energetic, charismatic host who can captivate an audience. Darren is employed at BTC as Senior Manager of Direct Sales, Sales Effectiveness, and Fixed Products.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third session of our InKnowVation 2020. Amazing, real-world business solutions brought to you by BTC Business, Cable and Wireless Business, and Flow Business. Last week, we featured our Barbados business team, along with international speakers Robert Morgan and Tracy Moore, which made for a dynamic session. This week, we've planned another fantastic day that I'm certain each and every one of you will enjoy. Today, we have international business professional David Weintraub, owner of DWE Talent, a proven force in the entertainment business. He's worked in all areas of talent representation, from film and TV creating and producing, publicity, and brand management. He is a trained talent agent who has turned his career into being one of the top managers, producers, and creators in the business. David has produced over 1,000 television episodes from VH1, A&E, E! Entertainment, WeTV, Bravo, Reels, Fox, CW, MTV, CMT, Food Network, TLC, HGTV, Nick TV One, BT, and Discovery. So many of them. It's so much more to say, but I'll stop it right there. His company manages over 100 pop cultural celebrities from all walks of life in the industry, including actors, actresses, reality stars, hosts, fashion designers, chefs, entertainment, internet stars, models, and controversial personalities. I'm not one of them. David has not only made it to the world, but he has also set the world stage. You'll also have the opportunity to listen to Joy Cousin after building an award-winning career from public accountant to CFO and then to CEO in 2015. Joy discovered another love that changed her life forever. She fell in love, got married, and moved to France, leaving her family and corporate life behind. Joy's story of climbing the corporate ladder, falling in love, and discovering her true passion will inspire any upcoming entrepreneur. This week, in studio, I have another local talent, a business owner, Jameel Lightburn from Cheesecake Heaven. I'm looking forward to hearing Jameel's story of resilience and creativity, as he has made himself one of the most popular pastry chefs in the country. I've known Jameel personally for many years and truly seen his story as one that is not only resilient, but simply absolutely extraordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also happy to have in studio with me Naja, who is from our small and medium business section here at BTC, and she is going to join me for the duration of this segment. And of course, who I don't have in studio today, but I do have joining me virtually, is Mr. Andre Knowles, our BTC head of B2B lead. Ladies and gentlemen, Andre, you are in studio with us. How are you today?
I am doing extremely well there.
Listen, so we have had, I think we've spent 2 weeks together in studio. Is it 2 weeks? It's been going 2 weeks together in studio. We've seen probably about 6 different presenters. Talk to me about what the last 2 weeks have been like.
Oh, look, it has been fantastic, and I just want to welcome everybody, say happy Friday and certainly welcome to week 3. 2 weeks have flown by, it's the old adage, time really flies when you're having fun is so true, and I think that everyone will agree with me that the last 2 weeks, look, they have been very insightful and inspiring. We really hope that these sessions are valuable to everybody and that all of the businesses are thinking of how they could put some of our speakers' great tips to good use. Look, as I said before, with every crisis, and many small businesses are certainly in crisis mode, there is opportunity, an opportunity to reinvent your business. I should say that if you're curious on what technology you need to start your business or enhance the ones that you have, our account agents are actually in the chat, so you could reach out to them so they could create a customized plan for you to meet your needs. And Darren, you know that we have an action-packed agenda again today. I am so looking forward to listening to Joya Cousin and David Weintraub and Jameel Lightburn. So I am really looking forward to another great and exciting show, man.
Well, listen, when I looked at the lineup earlier, I was hoping that you didn't leave me high and dry, but evidently you have joined me virtually, and I'm excited about that. I know you would have definitely been in studio, but of course we are in social distancing season at this particular point. Hopefully that season is going to be over pretty soon. 2 weeks of, power pack, talent punching experiences for young entrepreneurs, not only here, Andre, but also the experience has been offered to our Barbados team. It's been offered to our Trinidad and Tobago team. It's been offered to our Turks and Caicos team. I know that we had some members of Curacao that was on, and I definitely know that our team at TCI is still plugged in. So we don't know. This is virtual. So we might have so many people from all around the markets of the flow markets who've been plugged in to listen to this show today. How does that make you feel coming off of the inaugural, innovation conference and now doing the virtual conference where we have now gone, international, eh?
No, look, it is fantastic. When we did the first one last year, the inaugural innovation conference at Bahamar, it was fantastic. We had a lot of great people there, but going virtual, it has just propelled us to allow so many more small businesses to take advantage of our international and local as well as regional speakers. So I could not be so much more pleased than this, because like you say, we have taken it from a local perspective to an international perspective. And really hoping that certainly not only the folks in the Bahamas, the entrepreneurs in the Bahamas, but from a regional perspective, our folks in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, like you said, Turks and Caicos, and a lot of the other folks in the region can fully take advantage of some of the expertise and the knowledge of our great speakers that we have lined up.
The other thing is, to our virtual audience, we have a chat there. And this is not only about observation, but this is also about participating. And I think what we really want, and we've been encouraging this each week while you and I were in studio, is, put your business in the chat. Have a discussion with the individuals that's in this chat, doing this session while things is going, while the discussions are going on, so that we can collaborate and build partnerships.
Absolutely. Because,
the attitude of us, working locally in our respective country or respective regions, that's out of the door. We all are global citizens now, and we want to make certain that we have global partnerships and regional partnerships that we're able to expand our business, and not only expand, but, find somebody who would have had the experience to help us and guide us along the way. A couple things that was said, the Michelle Hoskins, she talked about mentorship. And we had Robert Morgan. He also talked about mentorship. We had Tracy Moore. She talked about mentorship. And I think one of the key pillars that's come out of this entire discussion over the last 2 weeks, and I assume even this week as well, is we're going to see the importance of mentorship, the importance that, when you make that mistake, or when you listen to that individual who's made that mistake already for you, the idea is to have that individual supporting you, who's able to watch you work and give you some guidance based on the wisdom that they have. So truly, this is amazing. In the words of a particular radio show host here in the country, this is powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Darren, you bring an excellent point there. Um, we're global citizens now. And so even from a mentorship perspective, you don't need to look at only what's available here in your country. Find mentors who are global as well. So it's not a matter of what can I do only in my little, my little location. The whole idea is this is international now. The pandemic has made us, have to look at different alternatives, and certainly looking at mentorship, and obviously with the passion and perseverance, find these people who are international as well. We are all global citizens. Perhaps even let's try and see how you can take your businesses global and stop thinking, of being in such a little small pond. Expand.
Well, thank you so much, Andre. And, I see Trinidad and Tobago already in the chat, putting that discussion about customized clothing. Evidently, we have so much talent in this virtual space right now. We want to make certain that in the 2 hours that we have with all of you here, that we make the best out of it and that we have the best forms of collaboration possible. So, Albert, I thank you very much. I see Suzette is also in the chat as well. Thank you all so much for joining us, and especially to you, Andre, the man behind the wheel in this, head of B2B operations for BTC. We thank you. We thank you for involving your colleagues as well from all around the region. So TNT in the house, Barbados in the house, Jamaica in the house, Trinidad and Tobago in the house. Well, I called them already, but they're big enough to be called twice, and also TCI. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you so much, Andre.
Enjoy all the extra perks of BTC's new business mobile plans. Every new line added includes a free new smartphone packed with unlimited local calls, international and roaming minutes, plus local and roaming data to stay connected to your business. Sign up and switch now for as low as $49.99 per month and get handset discounts for life. Have your team do more and work smarter on the best 4G LTE network with BTC's new business mobile plan. Conditions apply.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Naja Finless, and I've seen this hard-working lady in action, walking up the hallways of BTC, down the stairs, up the stairs. And she has to be busy because we learned from Jensen Sylvester that it's about 90+% of our businesses in this country, in the Bahamas locally, that are small businesses. And so we must make certain that we take them very seriously, and we must make certain that we have products and services that we're able to support these small businesses in a way that they're able to succeed. And so, Naja, welcome to the studio today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here finally.
I know, right? And there's not as much walking up and down as you would have had to do last year at the inaugural conference. So you don't have to walk up and down. I mean, there was some beautiful booths that you had set up for your small business partners. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. But this year, we're now virtually. And in taking this virtually, we understand very clearly that we are not just reaching the Bahamas, but we're reaching the world.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel as a small business lead here at BTC?
It's really fantastic. I remember our CEO always asking us to think about ways to not waste a good disaster.
Right.
And so here we are in this particular environment. And like you said, last year we were able to do the conference at Bahama. It was huge. Mm-hmm. We had our small businesses with us. Now we aren't able to do that. So we've done this virtual conference, and we're able to bring talent and speakers from all over the world, whom we probably would not have been able to do had we had to do it in a physical space. So we're able to bring all these wonderful speakers to our small businesses in the comforts of their own home, and they get the same information, they get the same energy. And I think bringing our small business along with us still in the studio is something that we do all the time. We carry our small businesses with us, we support them, and we're with them all the time. So it's still a very good feeling. It's actually better than I thought it would be. So I'm extremely energized. It is wonderful.
I know last year you dragged me out of my house on an early Saturday morning to come into the boardroom. And we were sitting down there and you were brainstorming with the team. And really, I think your major focus was, Darren, I want to get every small business in the country, the barbers, the hairdressers, the clothing designers, persons in entertainment. I want to get them out and so that they can get, the benefits of this particular conference. Mm-hmm. What do you expect having looked at this program and designed this program along with Andre and Carol and the team, what do you expect to our virtual audience out there? What do you would like to tell them that they should be able to get out of a conference like this?
Right. So I want to say thank you so much to Carol, because she's really, really the big part of putting all of the speakers together. And what you see in all of the themes is about resilience, is about pivoting, is about, reinventing yourself, it's about going forward. And so right now, a lot of our small businesses are hurting. This pandemic has really, really crushed them. And they're trying hard to find a way to go on. And so we want them to get the information from our innovation conference to help them to be able to find what they need to be able to go on, to re-engineer themselves, to think out of the box. All of these things, some of them may have to go in a different direction. Don't be afraid to do it. Find what you need in this conference to give you the courage to be able to go on.
And, we have so many fantastic entrepreneurs in the Family Islands. And, last year they were not able to really participate, it could have been cost prohibitive in order to catch a flight. So sometimes we're thinking about the region, but we often forget that we're an archipelago as well. And so this conference now, we're able to reach out there to our friends and family and, our clients, customers who are in Grand Bahama, Abaco, San Salvador, as far as Inagua, the beautiful salt in Inagua, and opportunities of what they can do with that salt in terms of packaging and branding and, really making something out of one ingredient that is in such an overabundance there in Inagua. So we are now connected. And I'd like to say that one thing I know about this company in my 12 years of being a part of it, Naja, is that we enjoy being connected. I know that you have one of your wonderful, wonderful clients in studio today. We have known Jameel from his work, his cakes, his designs. And so Jameel, welcome in studio. It's good to have you here. And before we even do a formal introduction, I'm going to ask my colleagues to just throw us over to our introduction video so our studio audience, as well as our virtual audience, can get to know a bit more about you.
Jameel L.P. Lightburn, Cheesecake Heaven. Jameel Lightburn is the CEO, head chef, and pastry chef at Cheesecake Heaven. Self-taught, Mr. Lightburn began his career in the culinary field at the tender age of 8, and has since developed his skills through roles as head chef at restaurants, general manager at a local bakery, and a chef at a local hospital. Jameel's resilience and creativity catapulted him to experiment. This was where he realized his true potential as a self-employed artist. In 2009, he launched JLPL Gourmet Cheesecake Emporium, later rebranded as Cheesecake Heaven. Mr. Lightburn is a self-starter grant recipient. He also currently mentors young and prospective entrepreneurs.
Jameel, it is good to have you in studio. We have thought alike this morning. You have on orange and I have on pink. So I definitely feel as though I'm in the company of greatness, a fashionista, a pastry chef, a entrepreneur extraordinaire. I've known you for a very long time. And I've known your story. I mean, when I was in another place working, you and I had so many opportunities to sit down. And I really want, at this very beginning of this segment, for you to share how this all got started for you. And I can tell you about some of the struggles that you've told me about. But I think it's important for our entrepreneurs who are with us virtually to hear how being under construction is the process that you go through in order to get the progress that you have so wonderfully been able to capture.
Well, Darren, it's been a long road in order for me to get to this point, but it started when I was a child. I was about 8 years old, and what happened was my mother wanted to keep me away from the streets, and so what we did was we used to bake as a mother-son team. Used to teach me how to bake pound cakes in the kitchen. And so instead of me spending most of my days outside, I would be inside the kitchen, assisting her with preparing desserts while she cooks dinner. And the same recipe that I was taught when I was 8 years old is the recipes that I use now.
Wow.
And it eventually developed into a small business when her being a entrepreneur herself, she had a beauty salon attached onto our home. And what I would do is I would go into the beauty salon and I would sell her customers slices of the cakes that I made.
Mm-hmm.
And they might not have been the best at that point, but I want to thank those customers because they purchased without criticism and they did it on a regular basis. And what happened was it became a point where they would purchase whole cakes for the weekend, for when they go home with their families, and the word spread. And what happened after that was the orders just started coming in. And maybe it was just because I was a young man and they wanted to lend their support, but the encouragement that gave me helped me to propel myself and change into a business person at that young age. And it went from pound cakes to cheesecakes, and people had specific flavors, but I started to experiment. I did birthday cakes, and that's where Cheesecake Heaven first started.
Listen, and the cheesecakes are amazing, to say the least. Not only the cheesecakes are amazing, but I wish colleagues had the opportunity, and maybe they will see it because we have another feature that kind of gives the experience probably of what that space looks like. But I think that's in and of itself just an amazing experience to be in your storefront as well. But I wanna bring something up that you and I have talked about, and that is a young man with a dream. A young man who's fostered this craft from the age of 8 years old. You've watched your mom, in a small business and being able to really create opportunities for you as a result of that, and you yourself having your own family. But one of the major discussions that we would have had was access to capital. Access to capital. How is it, or what recommendations would you give to that young entrepreneur who's reached the point that you were at, where it was, I have a demand, but I do not have the equipment to provide that level of supply to the demand that I have?
Well, first of all, I want to encourage the ones that don't have the business up and running as yet, because that's where the persons with the demand start from. And what happens is you have persons who have an idea. They try something simple to see if anyone bites per se. And they get a few people interested. They create a product. They create a so-called business. And their train of thought or the things that run through their head when it comes to moving from one product to another, it tends to cause people to bite their nails because, okay, what happens is you have a product, you have a few people interested, and every time you make a sale, you wonder, should I spend the funds that I have made into buying more ingredients, or should I save this? And with my business, I started with $7. That's what I started.
$7.
Yeah, that's what it cost to buy at that time the 2 cream cheese and the little pie crust.
Wow.
Right? Now, what people need to understand when it comes to business, if you don't have any savings or any funds set aside, which would be considered the capital, then it would be hard as time moves on. So first of all, you have to get your mindset. You have to get yourself in the mindset, whereas some of the money you earn, you would put aside as your growing capital, and then the rest you would use towards the business. Now, a lot of baby companies operate without capital. Now, and it's not because they are being
they're trying to avoid the commitment of a loan or.
See, it's hard. It's hard when it comes to small business trying to get startup capital in the Bahamas.
And I know because, you know, when I was in another place, when I served in a position in government, you and I had so many discussions. And I think the interesting part about it is to see your success in the midst of so many rejections that you would have gotten in your applications and, you know, just really, really trying to show what you've made and the comparison of what you made versus what you should qualify to get. And I remember you saying something to me and you said, you know, Darren, it seems to me as if sometimes I feel in this country, they want us to work for other people versus work for ourselves because the access to funding or access to capital outside of what you have in your own pocket is so amazingly difficult. And I would have seen you, you know, in the midst of those rejections, create your kingdom. And I think that's such an amazing story to have. Now I think they're running after you to give you money to expand, eh?
I hope so. But what, like, for instance, it was a time when, before the store, when I would have walked into a commercial financial institution and asked for assistance in order to bring my dream into reality. And what was said to me was,
I remember this.
You don't qualify. Maybe what you could do is apply for a government job and pass your probation, pass your 6 months, and then we could qualify you for
a loan.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because your job is an entrepreneur. And that is your job, but the discouragement for you to go and hold off on that or tune that down a little bit, apply for another job. And I think that's where, you know, this whole idea of, you know, the micro loans and the small, medium business loans, you know, that whole idea. And I think Jensen Sylvester talked about technology and also I think it goes the same in terms of technology and banks. In technology, one time ago, we did not have this small business approach to a product. And in Barbados, Jensen was saying, we recognized that we were placing small businesses on the same platform as large businesses and was not tailoring products towards small businesses. And I think the same goes for banks, right, Jameel, is that, you know, what are the products and services that some of these banks or lending institutions have out there that's geared directly towards small businesses, although it has a significant amount of risk attached to it. But before we go any further, because we're talking about what you've created, and I'm hoping that this video presentation gives us just a view, a bird's eye view of what the storefront looks like. If it doesn't, I'm going to be slightly disappointed because I really want the virtual audience to see what you have created even in the midst of the hustle and in the midst of the struggle. And then we're going to go back over to technology because one thing that I think really set you aside, Jameel, was that Facebook and Instagram and the way you've utilized social media and technology long before COVID-19. So ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at this feature presentation.
Good day, my name is Jameel Lightburn. I am the CEO and owner of Cheesecake Heaven, which is a bakery located in Palmdale. That's Bradley and Madera Street. And at Cheesecake Heaven, what we do is we bring a little bit of heaven to you. We have over 250 flavors of cheesecake, ranging from wild to mild. We have the local flavors, which include Canep, sea grape, sugar apple, soursop, mango. And then we have chocolate lovers, Life by Chocolate, cookies and cream, and all of the traditional flavors that you usually expect when it comes to cheesecake. We also have fried ice cream and fried cheesecake. We have cheesecake stuffed donuts. It's a lot of items we have that consists of our name, which is Cheesecake Heaven. With COVID-19 coming into everyone's lives, what Cheesecake Heaven did to maneuver the business into a stronger footing is we started doing fresh bread, and we started with wholesale bread, which allowed us to still conduct some form of business during the lockdowns. And with the wholesale bread, it came with flavors such as guava, coconut raisin, and plain. And we also have a few custom flavors, but those are what you call secret menu items. Well, what BTC allowed us to do is BTC allowed us to have non-stop contact with our customers, whether it be through social media or internet. Internet was strong straight through, even though we had a few power outages, we were still able to contact our customers through the BTC network, and that helped us with keeping our wholesale orders together and allowing us to deliver on time. The advice that I would give up-and-coming business owners or startups would be to diversify your business in a way whereas whatever happens in the worldwide economy, whatever happens in society, you still have some form or some access to generate funds or to conduct business, and that's what we had to do.
Just look at the place. I mean, it is definitely something that you would see in London, Paris, Chicago. You know, I think the importance for us is the whole branding and the way you've branded the place, just the look and feel of a coffee / pastry. Is it called a patisserie? I think that's what they call it in some of the very high end places. But your patisserie, Jameel, talk to me about COVID-19, technology, and the amazing pivot that you would have done.
Well, with COVID-19 coming into play, what assisted us through the challenging time and lockdowns was when, like I said, we did the wholesale bread, right? Mm-hmm. We did the wholesale bread for the food stores. And we have a few food stores that we provide the bread to. And along with the wholesale bread, we brought on a few of the delivery companies. And the delivery companies, they have the tablets now, whereas the order comes through, and instead of them making a call, the order automatically comes through the tablet, which thanks to BTC, we get the internet access.
That high speed
internet access. And we just touch a button, the delivery person comes, picks up, no cash exchange, walks through the door and makes the delivery. And that has been implemented since COVID, and that assists us to not have as much customers come into the store, allow our product to go out, no cash exchange with that, and delivered on time and fresh.
Right. And, you know, let's go to you, Naja, because, you know, small, medium businesses, that's your expertise as it relates to telecommunications. You know, what Jameel has talked about is this whole idea of, you know, the high-speed internet, the efficiency that is able to provide their respective companies to do the jobs that they need to do in a time like this. And also within the new normal, because I don't think the way we do business is going to go back to what we've done 6 months ago. I think we're going to even heighten the virtual experiences even more. Tell me how you would have made, you know, the customer value propositions, what we put out there to our customers. How has that changed a bit to become more aligned with our small, medium businesses?
So with everything changing as it is and as rapidly as it is, the demands of our small business customers, they're changing very quickly. And so we are having to change to meet those demands. And so we have developed services, products and services. After listening to our customers and hearing their frustrations, we've come up with products and services which will give them more speeds. I mean, disruptive speeds. They won't have to worry about, buffering or anything anymore. And also because they're now working from home, many of them, or having to work while they educate their children. Mm-hmm. So the need for bandwidth, the need for reliable and fast speeds are more important now than ever before. And so we've developed the mobile plans. We are developing the internet speeds for them that they would be able to use so that they would have the experience that they deserve. Being small business owners, they have so many things they have to worry about. We don't want that to be one of them.
And, Jensen summed it up so beautifully, and I didn't understand it until he expressed it. And I'm certain that many of our viewers at home and wherever they are would agree that, packages and geared within telecommunications that's geared directly towards the small business is so important mm-hmm. now more than ever, especially for those parents and those, business owners who work from home as well, yeah. Because you want to separate your mm-hmm. life, your business life versus your home life. Mm-hmm. We call that code switching. Mm-hmm. But I'm told that you have something in the works.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if it's a secret, but I know that some of our viewers are out there, yeah. and even those in other countries who can roll up to the other markets and say, well, Bahamas has this. Yeah. What can you do for me? So yeah. let's hear more about the new proposition that you have coming out for your customers, if you can tell us.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. I'd like to BTC was very proactive in looking after our small business customers. We started this from 2016.
Where's the voice?
2016, we developed a small business section. We have dedicated small business partners, we call them. These are the salespeople who look after small businesses only. And so they would go out, they would connect with these small businesses, and they would be the point of contact for the small businesses. We don't want them waiting to have to be in a queue with everybody else, the consumer, the residential side or any other side. They're important. We value them. We know how important they are. So we've been doing this from 2016. So now, and we followed them. We followed them all this time. And as they change, we change to meet their demands. So now we're in COVID-19. And everything is very fluid. It's very, very fast. It's scary to most small businesses because they're really impacted. And so we've listened to them. We've called them. We've been with them the whole time. We've contacted them. We had conversations with them. And so we know what their needs are. Mm-hmm. And so we have developed a suite of products and services. And it's going to be based on 3 pillars. We're going to be always connected. We're going to be always by their side, as we have been, but even more so.
Always by your side.
And always more. We're going to give them more value. We're going to give them more value, and we're going to keep in mind the price, because we know what it is that they need and what they can afford. Speaking earlier with Jameel and talking about the journey of the small business owner, a lot of times they don't know what it is that they do need in order to operate. But what we do is we have our team of sales agents who are available to have consultations with them. It's all free of charge. They come in, they sit with us, they say to us, okay, this is what we want to do. We get a feel as to how much money you have to start. So we would guide you through that process. You may not need 10 megs to begin with. You may need 6. Let's start with 6 and let's ramp it up as you need it. Mm-hmm. So we work with them because our goal at the end of the day is for them to succeed. If they succeed, we succeed. It's a win-win all around. And it makes us feel good to know that we were a part of that.
Naja, I'm hearing a couple things from you. More value, more speed, more time, more convenience. It's just here at BTC, more. And of course, not only at BTC, but all of our markets here at Flow. And so, Jameel, the questions have rolled in for you. I think we've covered how did you get started? But this is a key question. What advice can you give someone who has a fear of starting their own business? And then I'm going to add the second one in. At what point in your career did you realize your business was successful enough to move from a home business to a storefront? I think that's really important. At what point did you find that your business was successful enough to move from a home business to a storefront? And the other one, what advice do you give someone who has that fear? Because I assume that there was also fear in deciding to take that big leap to have a storefront as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tackle that part of the question, that first question, and the fear aspect. My best advice for the fear aspect is to just put your toe in and feel your way through. But that is not how I had to do it. When it came to a full-fledged business, what happened was, anytime something started with, what had happened was,
that's a Bahamian saying. What happened at first was.
Yeah. I probably lost more jobs or got fired from more jobs than a lot of people would ever have in their entire life.
Wow. Tell us more about that. I mean, it was because you had something in you.
No, it wasn't that.
No.
It was either the business closed down. I wanted to do more than my job allowed me to do. I wanted to change menu items, make them more
You were
exciting.
always a boss. You were always a boss. That's big boss.
So what happened with me working? It just got frustrating because every time I changed a job, you would hear the naysayers in the back. You can't keep a job. What's wrong with you? And that starts to play in your mind. And it got to the point where I had lost so much jobs for one reason or another that I said to myself, my last job, I would not work for no one else for the rest of my life. And that's how I became a full-fledged business owner from that point.
There's a powerful statement that just laid on, not my heart, on my kidney. If you can't keep a job, make the job that you want to keep. Come on now. If you can't keep a job, make the job that you want to keep. Let's take a couple more of these questions. This is powerful. Whoever this was who asked this question must have listened to Tracy Moore last week about reinventing yourself. How often do you reinvent yourself? And what has been most significant in your reinvention process?
I try to reinvent or change direction every few months because my mind goes at 100 miles an hour all day, all night, even when I'm sleeping. So what I tend to have to tone down and not stray away from the goal. I have a end goal or a path that I want my company to be on. And right now we're probably at 40%. And so what I try to do is I try to take a little bit of the ideas that I come up with and add them to the business, not to change the total dynamic of the business itself, but just to create a little talk in the market. You understand? We did the fried cheesecake and the fried ice cream, which was it was straying away from the initial bakery concept, but in the Cheesecake Heaven brand, it's all about creating the heavenly experience, no matter what it is. So once it could go into your mouth and create a smile, then that's what we do.
Creating the heavenly experience, no matter what it is. Jameel, I have another question for you. Branding has been so powerful in what you do. And this is what we're going to begin to wrap up on, because I think given COVID, this is so important. I look at your Facebook page, I look at your Instagram page, and the feel and experience of those pages are just as amazing as the storefront. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs out there who've joined us virtually about the management of their social media, and what tips can they use to keep that vibrant and relevant, especially within this period of the pandemic?
The advice that I would give up-and-coming businesses is take a page out of companies like BTC. Take a page out of big companies. And remember, the company is not specifically about you. What you want to do is you want people to remember you and remember your product, whether you are there or not. Every time they see something that you produce or they see a social media post, you want them to automatically know that has to be Cheesecake Heaven.
Wow. And that's so important, to connect the brand to the experience and the experience to the person. Like Jameel says, giving everyone the heavenly experience. I love that. Thank you so much, Jameel, for joining us today. It has been amazing to watch your company grow. It's also been amazing to see the way your products have transformed, and also to see the way you've pivoted. I think any outdoor experience in terms of festival, like the high-end festivals, we definitely see Cheesecake Heaven represented with your fried cheesecake or fried ice cream. And I think that's just amazing to see how you have diversified your product offerings as well. And so we thank you so much for being with us here at BTC, but also supporting us here at BTC as well, in terms of what you do, how you do it, and supporting young people, the way you're able to mentor so many young people out there. So I'm going to tell somebody, and I'll announce that later in the show, if you want a 30-minute session with Jameel, I'll choose that myself, that he can provide you some advice and support. He wouldn't row me about it later, because he's just that type of guy. But I think some of our local entrepreneurs, and also our entrepreneurs who are within the region, can benefit from some of the learnings that you have had. And so tell us how that goes. I'll let you know the name of the person by the end of the day. And Naja, you're going to be here with me for the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to have you on board with us here at the Innovation Conference. And we're out of time for this segment, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
As business leaders, we learn to forecast for our businesses. When we try to predict market trends, we hope for the best outcome. However, as much as we forecast and create projections, there are some events for which we just can't prepare. Sometimes because it never occurred to us, sometimes because we just thought it couldn't happen to me. Unfortunately, when disaster strikes, it does not discriminate by size or even type of business. It can happen whether you expect it or not. Fortunately, you are not alone. We at C&W Business can help you prepare for disasters. With our disaster recovery as a service solution, we'll ensure your business is back in operation fast. Because being prepared is the best strategy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I've told you that today was going to be an amazing session. We have so much in store for you. We have 3 fantastic speakers, and also we have Naja, who is here with us from our small business unit. So we know that today is going to be power-packed and powerful, but I'm not going to introduce our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to allow for a wonderful video presentation to give us more insight about David.
David Weintraub, Entertainment Manager. Topic: how to start and build a successful YouTube channel. David Weintraub and his company, DWE Talent, are a proven force in the entertainment business, working in all areas of talent representation, film and television creation and producing, publicity, and brand management. A former William Morris Agency and United Talent Agency trained talent agent, Weintraub turned his career into being one of the top manager, producer, creators in the business. Weintraub has set precedents for brokering some of the biggest talent deals in the pop culture entertainment business space. He's worked with Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Gwen Stefani, Ludacris, Tommy Lee, Adam Levine, 50 Cent, Ray J, Brandy, Safari, Birdman, Too Short, Harrison Ford, Jeff Bridges, The Kardashians, Bravo's Housewives of New Jersey, Bravo's Housewives of the OC, 2 Chainz, YG, the cast of A&E Storage Wars, Maya, and many more.
David, welcome to the Bahamas virtually, but I'm doing fantastic. I'm so ecstatic to have the opportunity to I guess, introduce you after your feature video, but hear your fantastic presentation today on how to start a successful YouTube channel. But as I begin to read your bio, man, you have been busy.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to meet you and great to be speaking to everybody virtually. I wish I was in the Bahamas with you guys doing this, but I guess I will have to deal with being in Los Angeles and virtually experiencing this with you guys. So thank you again for having me.
Well, definitely. It's going to be virtual today, but of course, this is only the second innovation conference. There's a third one. So if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to have to shake some telecommunications lines to whisper into somebody's ear to get you back here in person and to make certain that some of our colleagues in the region join us, not virtually next year, but maybe to join us in person next year to meet you face to face. Impressive bio.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I started very young. So when I was 15 years old, I was able to secure a very junior position at Interscope Records, which was sort of the introduction into my world of the entertainment business. And when that happened, that was sort of the way that I segued into learning all different areas of the business, from movies, film, television, representation, branding, marketing, social media, publicity, and mastering everything of starting and creating your own projects to then take them to market and sell them. So I think that a lot of, the beginning stages of this is about your drive and how bad do you want to make it. I was someone that grew up, luckily, in Los Angeles and in Beverly Hills around a lot of these very influential families and business executives and celebrities. And I come from a family of doctors and lawyers. So, of course, I wanted to gravitate into that business. So whatever way that I could get my intro into that world was what I was going to do. And it happened to be through the music business before I ever made a TV show or ever made anything on the more sort of film and TV side.
You have this whole concept of YouTube channels and putting I guess, content out there. And one of the things I know that the virtual audience is looking to really hear is, how do you get to do that and do that successfully?
Well, I mean, YouTube is a platform that was built for everybody to use. So there was so much talent and so much opportunity that was built out of that, and being able to see these wonderful people that were kind of doing either very talented singing, TV, movies, pranks, whatever it may be that you were doing, and give you an opportunity to have people look at you and see you for the first time. So that being said, YouTube became this format overnight that allowed you to monetize it and allowed you to become, your own sort of producer, director, and if you wanted, the star of your own shows. I used YouTube very early on in placing clients that I was already trying to get established in the business, and taking existing clients that were already sort of known and superstars, and being able to amplify the visibility on whatever projects they were trying to do. There is a lot of stuff on there that is controversial, and I'm not going to say that controversy doesn't help you in some ways, but there's also the ability that you need to have your opinions sort of harnessed into what audiences are going to want to see. You want to come up with concepts that you're going to put on YouTube that are either going to be different, loud, over the top, unfiltered, but yet put together in a package that looks really, really good and crystal clear. I was lucky enough that I took some people from YouTube and was able to transform them into mainstream television stars. And we successfully did that with a show that I executive produced, co-created, and starred in called The Hollywood Hillbillies. And this show, we did 4 seasons of, we did over 50 episodes of it for the Reels channel. And it was basically about a guy who was being bullied at his school in high school and made these videos of him ranting and raving and saying, sort of very funny but heartfelt, extreme points of views on bullying. And that one video overnight became a phenomenon. And ultimately, in the first 6 months that it was out, it became something that did over 300 million views. So from the viewership of that opened up the doors for people to want to see more and more about this person and his life. And as he allowed you into his life and seeing his family and how funny all the individual characters were there, it then had people going, well, maybe we need to make something a little bit bigger and more mainstream out of this and turn this into actually something that looks like a sitcom, but in a sitcom set in a non-scripted setting. So we got together, we came up with an idea of him wanting, he already wanted to come to Los Angeles. There's a lot of people that want to move to LA, get in the business and do all that stuff. But it was basically like a fish out of water story. And when I say fish out of water, it means really that you're taking someone who's not in their normal setting that you would think they would be in and putting them in a completely over the top setting and see how they react, and then documenting that and then transforming it into a television show. But before you even can get to the TV show side of things, you have to have the demand. So part of creating that demand is the visibility that you get from all of the smaller videos that you're doing and branding them on the space of YouTube. So we could start with wherever you want to talk about, how, do you want to learn how you begin your page, how you market it? Tell me where you want me to start.
So I have, within the couple minutes of you speaking,
Yes.
I have a list of questions that's come in. What I'm going to do is give you just a couple of the questions, and maybe you can speak to that while you give some guidance about the whole establishment of YouTube. One of the questions is, I have a YouTube channel. How do I grow my subscriber base? How difficult is it for persons in the Caribbean to turn their YouTube channel into a business where they can make money from the channel? How do you stay relevant in the industry? And those are the first 3. But I think one of the other questions that I want to add as the overarching question, David, is, within this country, I think you summed it up so good in the introduction, is that you came from a family of doctors and lawyers. Yes. And within countries within our region, the whole idea of entertainment and acting and creatives is something that's not always so strongly encouraged, because it looks, again, like the quote unquote struggling artist, and it's not the formal job environment that some parents want to see their children in. I want to know from you, what advice do you give some young entrepreneurs, young people and older people out there who might have been in a job that they do not want to be in, because this is ideally what they wanted to do but didn't have the courage or confidence to do that early on? What advice do you give them based on how you made that jump from the traditional employment opportunities afforded by your siblings and by your parents versus you stepping out and doing something great and achieving this amazing success that you've achieved?
Right. Well, thank you very much. And it has been a long road, and I've been lucky to have had a lot of successful projects, but I'm still learning my own business and trying to achieve bigger and greater goals. And I think the first most important thing is that you have to decide what your career path is going to be. Do you want to really go into a business that you might only have a 1% to 2% chance, if that, in making it in? And I only say that because there are so many people trying to be TV stars, trying to be singers, rappers, rock stars, personalities, hosts, whatever it may be. And I think you have to evaluate what your talent is and get feedback from people around you and see if they believe in you as well. They like your content, but most importantly, believe in yourself. Don't let anyone roadblock you whatsoever and try to tell you what you can or cannot do. If you believe in the idea, you're passionate about it, you become an expert in it, then you need to shoot it, you need to show the world, but you need to put it in a concise package. Don't just shoot yourself doing something and put it on YouTube. You know, you need to put bells and whistles on to these things to make it look bright, to have it edited correctly. There's certain things that you can do in your phone, your computer, your phone. It is a movie studio. It is a television production studio, a music studio, a social media marketing studio. You have every element to go and do all that at the palms of your hands. You have to learn how to use the apps to edit. You have to learn how to use the apps to do proper placement of the actual content. And then you have to put it into a small package. The other thing I would say is that when you figure out what you want to do is your talent or your show or your idea or your project, make sure that you have it be unique. It has to be different than what somebody else's point of view is. And you want to keep it kind of short and sweet. People's ability to watch stuff on all of these platforms is very short. So you want to make sure that like what you're putting out there is probably somewhere in the 2 to 5 minute range, and sometimes even shorter, that gets a concise point across. People are getting takeaway from it. And when I say takeaway, it means that they learned something that they probably didn't know, and they're actually going to be able to remember what you talked about and how they can then use it in their lives. So I don't want to be anyone's dream killer at all. If you got to dream big, I dreamed so big that I wanted to go and attain the goals that I went after. When I wanted to become an A&R at Interscope Records and at Death Row Records, I made that happen no matter what. When I wanted to become the youngest agent at William Morris Agency and United Talent Agency, UTA, I went in there and I wasn't going to stop till I got it. Once I hit those goals, I realized that the business was changing, and I saw the non-scripted television business expanding with, you know, likes of the Osbournes television series and The Simple Life with Paris and Nicole, and with, you know, The Hills and Laguna Beach on MTV. And I just said, listen, I want to take the groups that I've organically grown up with and create television shows about them. And you know, there's a lot of people that said no, but then I was lucky that a lot of people did say yes. So you kind of have to know if your idea, if your content is actually desired and needed by the buyers, and then put that in the correct package and then take that out. Now, what a lot of people have today, though, with YouTube is that you can have a testing ground to see if your product, if your idea, if your content is actually liked. And you may like it, but not everybody else might not like it. And you may need to go and see what the comments are and see what people's points of view are on it, what you may need to change, and go in there and make some changes and rework the project to make it work for the audience. And then you may see a different response. When I started out, we didn't really have the ability to do that yet in television. And now all of you out there that want to do this, you have the ability to do that right now. So this is a complete testing ground to sell products. And look, it can happen. This is something you have to believe in yourself, believe in your idea. And look, be outspoken and have your own point of view. That is the most necessary thing. And the other thing I would say is you have to be an expert in whatever you're doing, whether it's comedy, whether it's business, whether it's making TV shows, whatever it is that you're doing on the platform and that you're trying to put out there, you need to make sure that you have an expertise in that area. And I would say anything that you can accomplish if you can put in 20,000 hours. Put in the 20,000 hours being an expert in something, learning it, reading it, searching it, doing everything you can to understand what it is you're trying to express and put it into that content, you can win.
One of the questions that's come up is, you have a wealth of knowledge in the industry. Are you currently aligned with any mentorship programs in providing mentorship opportunities to some individuals who are looking to get into industry?
I am. I'm actually teaching a course called the Hollywood Handbook University. And the Hollywood Handbook University is a course where you can actually learn every single step, piece by piece, of how to get into the entertainment business, create your own content, create TV shows, create movies, create music, create social media marketing, create publicity opportunities. And all of that is concisely taught through the Hollywood Handbook University. If you go to my Instagram at Sir David Weintraub, you will see the link to that, and you can get on the program, learn about it, and learn how to kind of follow in the footsteps. Like there were parts of myself that like I learned while being an agent and being in these big boardrooms and this big, massive Hollywood powerhouse agency. But then I had to kind of carve my own ways into understanding what types of projects I wanted to make and what those deals were going to look like. So I was blessed that I had that access, but at the same time, if you don't have the personalities, meaning the talent, or the idea, or the ability to know that there's a demand for it, you can't really go out there and sell the product. As far as, interning, mentorship, if people want to apply, I'm happy to look at applications. But again, the Hollywood Handbook University is the place to go and really try to figure this out.
So you talk about being an agent, and one of the questions that's just come up is that you've worked with many artists, talents that we've seen on television. What advice would you give to persons in the Caribbean who's looking to start a talent management business?
Well, a talent management business is really about relationships. It's about having the ability to have relationships with buyers and with agencies and with movie studios and record companies and television production companies and networks and streamers. And it's something that once you built those relationships, you know that you can take the talent that you represent and actually try to bring them into those opportunities where everybody can actually create projects and put them out and make money. Again, listen, we're all in a business here. And as the world is evolving, it's become more transparent that everyone has to like make money off the projects that they're doing. There's no point in just doing it to put it out there. You have to figure out the best way to monetize it. I think that if you're starting a management company, it's important for you to align with perhaps somebody like my company, DWE Talent, to actually bridge the gap, because you may have some superstars sitting down there that I don't know about, but you may not have the relationships to get them the record deal or the movie contract or the documentary or the TV show. So if you have the talent and I like your talent and we have a partnership between your company and my company, or whatever management company you want to partner with, you then have the ability to streamline it. From a localized level, meaning that on the ground in wherever city or country or state that you're in, you have relationships there, but I don't know that necessarily those will take you to the mainstream worldwide platform that you want to be at. Now, here's the greatest part about saying that though. You do have YouTube, you do have Instagram, you do have Twitter, you do have all of these other business models that you can use to get visibility. So at the same time, the alignment with the Hollywood management companies and the people that have those big mainstream relationships, as well as doing your own localized marketing, you put the two together and that's how you could win.
So one of the other key questions that's come up here is, you started the first reality TV show on YouTube.
Yes. Well, we started the first mainstream hit television show that came from YouTube and then transformed to mainstream television, which was the Hollywood Hillbillies that did over 4 seasons and 50 some episodes and was a great hit TV show that people loved. And it was really a sitcom. It was a reality sitcom. So, that was an innovation. From there are tons of people that have been able to do the same transformation. Now, I'm not going to say that YouTube is always the best breeding ground, because there is a lot of content that looks identical to maybe what your idea is. So you really have to figure out how can you differentiate it?
So a couple things that I've heard so far was make certain it's original, make certain that it's bite-sized, in other words, anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes, and also make certain that your audience is able to learn something, and hopefully they're able to come back as a result of that. I think one of the key things in that question was reality TV is kind of different, I assume, from some of the other shows that's on YouTube or whatever platform people are using. Is there any particular advice if somebody's looking to start a reality TV show?
Well, a reality TV show, you gotta be big, loud, crazy, over the top, unfiltered, doing something unique, having a unique look, a unique voice, a super original opinion. There's so many factors that we, look into when we're looking for new reality talent. What works for us still are great family businesses where you can learn something, whether you're a real estate family or you're a family of, jewelry makers, or you're a great family of chefs, or you guys are farmers, or you guys are mountain men, whatever your niche is. That's something that we look for. I'm always looking for new undiscovered opportunities within family businesses that we can showcase. And the great thing about a family business show is that you get to do the show with your whole family, and hopefully they're all characters and outspoken and unfiltered and doing something interesting. And it's always great to see that dynamic. The other thing that we look for are the foremost expert in a certain field. If you are the foremost expert in that field and you know everything about how to go into a junkyard, look for junk, and then take that junk and go and sell it for $10,000, whatever it may be, those are things that we look for. Like, there's a lot of unique businesses, unique experts, unique people doing funny, interesting jobs, or have interesting families or interesting perspectives, and taking those and harnessing that into a format. I'm not just saying go and shoot it. You still have to go and put it into that package. And if you follow the Hollywood Handbook University, which, by the way, I didn't say the link before, but if you go to learnwithdw.com, that will be the place that you could go. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's learnrealitytv.com. I don't even know my own link. Learnrealitytv.com. You can learn how to create these packages and then sell them to the buyers. And that's something that we can also help assist you with. So I think you have to really look around your life, the people around you, your family, the businesses that you know, the expertise that you may know, see what works and what may be different. Reality TV, like, if you look at the landscape of what's out there, there's shows about real estate, shows about home building, shows about cooking, shows about business marketing. There's every kind of project out there. So there is the ability that you can take what you're good at and go and make that into a money-making television opportunity. And the breeding ground for that can be Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, any of the social media platforms. And you go there, test it out, see how it works, and try to get it and build the following.
You talk about drama, you talk about crazy, you talk about, characters. And, David, I have a couple families in my head already that's lined up.
Send them over. We got to see them.
So, this has been a strange time for us, this pandemic. And in the midst of this pandemic, so much has happened, and at the same point, so much has not happened. How have you been able to pivot and really realign your business in a way that you're able to continue this success throughout?
Well, part of my business is we have a major touring department. So we represent a lot of mainstream rappers, and all of my urban hip hop artists, all of their tours, all of their shows, all of their personal appearances, all of their hosting opportunities, everything in that space was literally canceled. I mean, I'm talking, we had hundreds and hundreds of gigs canceled. that were booked, deposits in, ready to go, waiting for the date and just going and executing them. And we've been doing that for the last 15 years. So that's a really important piece of our business. So what we've had to do is supplement those opportunities with other things that are more virtual now. And the virtual opportunities aren't quite as big as the opportunities of doing a concert where my artist may make $50,000-$60,000 in a night to do a show. Now maybe they're only going to make 10 to do it as a virtual show. So you have to go and look at the supplemental opportunities and evaluate if it's still something that you want to do. So it's been a really hard time. We're really hoping that the world is going to open up and people are going to be able to go to concerts soon, go and see live performances, go to events, because that was a huge chunk of our business. And it's not only hurting my business, but it's hurting the artists. I had certain artists that were making the upwards of probably $200,000 a month, sometimes even more. And now that money is gone. So until the world really opens back up and the need for touring and concerts happens again, we have to look into other places to do stuff. There's a big show, obviously, on Instagram called Versus, which is like they're taking two artists and they're each known for their own unique business of all their songs and all their catalog, and they kind of go hand in hand, do their shows back to back together. And that has turned into such a big business because that was a new format that had to be created. Like somebody was sitting there going, how do I take these two very well-known artists and create a new type of platform? And then all of a sudden that becomes a real business. Like you'll see a show like Versus continue even after the pandemic is over and after concerts go back, because this is a new type of format. And those are the formats that I'm really looking for. So if you have those formats and you are looking for that, you guys need to go to learnrealitytv.com and sign up for the Hollywood Handbook, and we should go sell those shows.
I'll tell you, Versus gave me a headache the other day, David, because it was Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle that was squaring off with each other. And my parents are not the most technologically advanced. So I think I spent most of the night trying to get them connected to the Instagram or whatever it was on. And they both wanted to listen on their own devices in the same room. So that was definitely for me a headache. But nonetheless, I think it's so important to note that even a generation ahead of some of us has gotten so in tune in this virtual space and taking part in these virtual experiences like Versus. One of the questions that came up, and before I go to that question, I want to ask this. Carnival is huge in the Caribbean. Crop Over, Trinidad Carnival, so many different artists are in those spaces. David, someone like you who do tours all around the world, what are the opportunities for some of those particular artists and bands to take that type of work that they're doing? You have Carnival, you have Rake and Scrape, you have soca, you have calypso, you have all of this type of music that is really indigenous to our region. How do they take that gift and that talent that they have and take that to the world? I ask this in particular because in the last few years, we've seen Trinidad and Tobago Carnival, Barbados Crop Over. Those have been, I guess, hubs for people all over the world to come and celebrate that type of talent, that type of music. What are the opportunities there?
Well, I think that using, your own platforms such as your Instagram or your Twitter or your Facebook or your YouTube has now provided you a way to do your own projects from your own setting and have complete control of it. So having the control of doing a concert, even if you're doing it in your own house with your band and you're an unknown artist, you have a place to showcase what your big abilities are on a very localized level. And I think there's something very relatable to that people see and want to be a part of because they're going through the same thing. So if you're doing your concert from your house and you're an artist trying to make it, you're actually showing the world what you're capable of doing on a very localized, relatable level.
Excellent. And I'm going to ask you this one question, and I'll give you some opportunity to give us your final words and thoughts. It says, can you please have David share his thoughts on branding your YouTube channel and gaining viewership and subscribers? 3 things: the branding of the channel, the additional viewership and subscribers, and are there any hacks to getting additional subscribers on YouTube?
Well, look, controversy sells. And I'm not saying that that's always the route to go down, but
Right.
Controversy sells. Now, look, you don't want to have any kind of opinions that are going to be negative to the world, but you want to have your own point of view and do it in an unfiltered, extreme way. And that will usually get you traction somewhere, somehow. Also, your production, sort of the level of production that you're doing. Like I said, you have a full movie studio in your phone. You have a full recording studio in your phone. You have a full marketing applications you can use in your phone to make your product look amazing. I mean, this is the same stuff that, big movie studios, television companies, record labels are using, and you have it all in the power of your hand. So use that to your ability to make your product look incredible. And from there, it's about aligning that brand with other people that might be able to repost it, that might be able to share it, that might be able to like it, make comments, get you publicity for it. There's a ton of different ways that you can actually take your product and get it out to the masses. So I think, have your own point of view, have it be semi-controversial in a good way, not in a negative way, and make it loud, over the top, in a nice, short, concise package, and get it up there on social media, get it up there on YouTube, and tag it properly. Everything needs to be tagged properly so that you know how to go and search it and look for it, and it's going to pop up. Unknowns can take a video, and if it's tagged properly, it's going to get picked up by the search optimization parts of these apps, and then you'll be able to get your video, your song, whatever it is, to more people much quicker.
Excellent. And, David, I'm going to give you an opportunity to just give us your final words and thoughts, and, just the encouragement to some of our entrepreneurs who are viewing in our virtual space.
Well, don't ever let anyone deny your ability or your idea or your opportunity that you want to create to go and do something big. Stay focused on what you're doing. Get your 20,000 hours in of becoming an expert in that area, and make sure you know what you're talking about. And always, 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 always stay unfiltered. Stay untrue. Say what you mean. Say it right. Say it loud. Say it over the top. And just be you. And hopefully, if you have that personality and your likability and everybody is into what you're doing, you have the opportunity to monetize it and to create and turn it into a huge mainstream project. And if you go to learnrealitytv.com, sign up for the Hollywood Handbook. That is somewhere that we can help probably teach you more about this business and get you into this game and show your projects to the buyers.
David, you would have given 30 minutes of your time to offer a mentorship session to one of our viewers. I'm happy to announce that our winner is Veronica Laurie. Veronica Laurie has won a 30-minute mentorship session with you. And just some final words: keep it original, remain unfiltered, be you, make certain it's bite-sized, and make certain that your audience is able to learn something. It is definitely my distinct pleasure to be able to interview you today. And I hope and I know for a fact that our audience, our virtual audience, has gotten something out of this. And hopefully soon enough, we'll find them on learnrealitytv.com. Hollywood.
The Hollywood Handbook.
The Hollywood Handbook. So ladies and gentlemen, check out the Hollywood Handbook at learnrealitytv.com. Always a pleasure. And David, I'll see you in 365 days to today next year at the Innovation Conference Series 3.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back after this commercial break.
Enjoy all the extra perks of BTC's new business mobile plans. Every new line added includes a free new smartphone packed with unlimited local calls, international and roaming minutes, plus local and roaming data to stay connected to your business. Sign up and switch now for as low as $49.99 per month and get handset discounts for life. Have your team do more and work smarter on the best 4G LTE network with BTC's new business mobile plans. Conditions apply.
Naja, this has been a fantastic day already. I'm so excited to have you in studio, but more importantly, I'm so excited to have all of our guests who are joining us virtually. Of course, David was fantastic. Jameel had so much information to offer. And, you know, it's so exciting to see the commentary that's coming in, and also not only the commentary, but the participation, and to see that we're having that all across the region. Trinidad and Tobago was in the house, it remains in the house, of course. We have Barbados in the house. We have Turks and Caicos Islands in the house. Naja, how do you feel today? How are you feeling? I mean, you must feel amazing having been a part of the development of this particular innovation conference.
Yes. Absolutely. This has been awesome. I knew that this day was going to have this much energy, and I knew it was going to attract a lot of my small businesses, the ones that are actually talking about starting a business. So all of the speakers thus far would have given them all of the information they need to be able to do what they need to do. And we have all of the products and services they need to support what they want to do. So based on what he just said, based on what we just heard, we know that our customers need us to be always with them. They have to be connected always, and we're going to be always by their side. Right. So we have what they need to
more
do this.
More speed, more connections, more time, more convenience. I'm loving it already.
Absolutely.
And, you know, the key is if you're in Barbados, you know, Jensen said the entire Barbados, I think, is all fiber.
Yes.
Fiber speeds everywhere in the country. You can't beat that. I mean, that's absolutely amazing for every single business owner there, and for every residential home to have fiber speeds in the midst of this type of pandemic. So that, you know, that is definitely key. I think, you know, both of these gentlemen today talked about mentorship. They talked about the importance of, you know, collaboration, and they talked about the importance of being you. So even in the midst of you, you know, creating your product, make certain that you're not duplicating something that somebody else has, but that you are creating something that speaks to who you are as a person, but also a product that can be seen. When they see the product, they know that it's defined by your branding, your style. I think it's so important. But I know we have our next feature guest that's up, and I'm going to just go over to, you know, welcome to the Bahamas. Although it's virtual, we are so happy that you have joined us. Joya, you are in the house.
Hi, Darren. I'm so happy to be here virtually, back to home, the Caribbean.
Exactly, right? And of course, the weather is really good here, but we know that we're going to virtually send you some sunlight and virtually send you some sun, some sand and sea. And so before we start, I know you're going to be covering the topic, reinventing yourself with an entrepreneurial mindset. I took the opportunity to read your bio, from a CPA to a CFO to a CEO to falling in love and moving to, is it Paris?
I'm actually, we've just moved to the countryside to get away from everything COVID at the moment. So we're in the process of refurbishing everything, but we're in Brittany. It's a beautiful part of France, and it's one of the green zones. So we don't need to worry too much about the virus, because we're now going into a second lockdown in France. We've had new curfews being established, but I'm happy to be in the country for the moment. So no more city life for me.
Excellent. And while Jameel was here, I'm not sure if you were with us during the entire time, but I was thinking about the patisseries that I would have been to while visiting France. And so hopefully when COVID-19 is done and we were able to move that out of the way, I'll be able to come and just see that beautiful place one more time. But until that such time, you know, they said home is where the heart is. And of course, my heart is right here in the Bahamas and in all other places within the region. Joya, I'm not going to be responsible for introducing you today. So I'm going to go over to this feature video presentation that gives our viewers more insight on who you are. Once we come back after that video, I'll turn it right over to you to speak on the topic, reinventing yourself with an entrepreneurial mindset. We'll be right back after this video presentation.
International speaker, Joya Cousin, corporate professional, and fine artist. Topic, reinventing yourself with an entrepreneurial mindset. Joya Cousin is a self-taught artist born on the Caribbean island of Antigua. Having graduated with a degree in computer science and accounting, she then successfully pursued a designation as a certified public accountant. For almost 2 decades, working throughout the Caribbean, she built a dynamic and award-winning career, first in public accounting, then as a CFO and a CEO in the hospitality and telecommunication sectors. Joya has now turned her passion into a thriving business. Her original paintings and commissioned pieces can be found in private collections in France, Spain, Russia, Ireland, the United Kingdom, and across the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean. Joya's portraits are love stories on canvas, capturing the beauty that unites us all.
Joya, I'm speechless. So I've just saw the beautiful art. I'm just going to turn it right over to you so I can regain my thoughts after your words.
Thank you so much, Darren. I want to say a huge thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and to be involved in such a wonderful project, the BTC Innovation Conference 2020. And I'm really excited to be speaking on sharing some thoughts just from my own experience on reinventing yourself with an entrepreneurial mindset. So I want to cover, give you a brief overview of what I want to talk about, and you can feel free to interrupt me at any time, Darren.
Sure.
I want to talk about what is an entrepreneurial mindset, firstly. Then I'll share a little bit about my story of reinvention. Then I want to consider what is the difference between a limited mindset, what I'm going to describe as a limited mindset, versus an entrepreneurial mindset. And then finally, I'm going to give 5 useful habits to reinventing yourself with an entrepreneurial mindset. So I'm starting off by, what is an entrepreneurial mindset? And normally when we think about entrepreneurs, we think solely about somebody who takes a risk and starts a business. And that covers most of it. That's your entrepreneurs. But for me, an entrepreneurial mindset is so much broader than just starting a business. For me, an entrepreneurial mindset embodies all of the qualities that we think about when we talk about entrepreneurship: the creativity, the confidence, the drive, flexibility, and the thirst for growth that allows entrepreneurs to go out there and start businesses. Now, long before I became an entrepreneur myself, I considered myself to be an intrapreneur because I was always coming up with new ideas. I just wasn't taking that risk. Okay, so entrepreneurial mindset can be applied by anyone, whether you're 9 years old or 90 years old, whether you're thinking about starting a business or if you already have one. You can be in science or engineering or art. This entrepreneurial mindset is something that can benefit us all to bring more happiness and success into every area of our lives. So, what is mindset? Now, sometimes when we think about mindset, we think about, okay, attitudes. But mindset goes beyond just attitudes, because the mindset is our prevailing attitude. It's the one that we lug around with us when we wake up in the morning and when we go to sleep at night. So for me, when I talk about mindset, there's a lot more action involved. So for me, when I talk about mindset, it's attitude plus habits. So if you want to change your mindset, you don't only need to shift your attitude, but you also need to change your habits. And this is why I'm going to talk a little bit about habits to changing that mindset a little bit later on. All right, so just to give you a little introduction, of course, the wonderful introduction that's been provided by the BTC team gives you a little snippet into my history, but it doesn't tell you where I started. Now, growing up on the island of Antigua as a little girl, I suffered with low self-esteem. I had very little confidence. And as a result of that, I was mediocre at almost everything. I didn't do particularly well at school. I didn't do particularly well at sports. I was just mediocre, okay? Not from a lack of talent, not from a lack of ability. I knew I was intelligent, but I didn't have the confidence to apply myself to anything that I was doing. And this is the case with a lot of people. Confidence drives so much. So when we lack it, we aren't able to move past mediocrity. We believe the things that our limited mindset starts telling us, that we can't do certain things, that we're poor, so we can never amount to very much, that we didn't do well in school, so we can't become an entrepreneur or a CEO, that our dreams will never become a reality. And that's what a limited mindset is all about. That's where I was suffering. So my journey to becoming an artist has been a long and winding one. As a little girl, sure, I loved science and I loved art. I loved playing outside. I remember placing in a Liat Airlines poster competition one year. But as I said before, the confidence was never there. So I didn't apply myself. And as a result, by the time I reached my teens, the only art that was part of my life was doodling in the margins of my notebooks at school. That was it. I had a second chance when I was around 17 years old, going to a sixth form institution. I flunked out of chemistry and on a whim decided, okay, here's the opportunity perhaps to take up art once more. And this time I did apply myself. This time I took it very, very seriously. I spent months putting together a portfolio. These were the first pieces of art I had ever created, and I was very, very proud of what I had done. The examiners, unfortunately, didn't necessarily agree, and I ended up with a C. That immediately crushed whatever confidence that I had gained in that short of space of time. And that was the end of my fledgling art career. I did not pick up a paintbrush again for 22 years.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's what happens when we limit ourselves. That's what happens when we allow ourselves to remain with this limited mindset. It's insidious because we don't know that we're walking around in a straitjacket. I mean, it blows my mind sometimes when I'm painting every day. I'm like, is this me? Is this real? How could I not know that this lived with me for over 20 years? I had no idea that I had the ability to do this. So a limited mindset will keep you from achieving your destiny. Imagine you're put on this earth to do something very special, something that only you can do. And deep inside your heart, you know that it's there. But if you hold on to a limited mindset, you will be fooled into thinking there's no way that you can achieve your dream. And it's a lie. It's an absolute lie. The limited mindset will say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It will tell you if you're born poor, you cannot amount to anything. It will tell you if you didn't do well at school, you can never become successful. It will tell you if you never studied art, there's no way that you can be a professional artist. It will tell you if you're Black, stand back. That is the limited mindset. The entrepreneurial mindset, on the other hand, says all things are possible. It says it's never too late to try something new. It says I can learn new things. If I work hard, I can achieve my dreams. That failure is not the end. If I persist, I will succeed. The entrepreneurial mindset is challenge-driven. It seeks development through learning and even through failure. So people with an entrepreneurial mindset constantly seek to stretch themselves. They're always reaching for a new challenge. What they fear is actually not growing and not achieving their potential. With an entrepreneurial mindset, not trying hard enough is the bad thing. And effort is the proof that eventually you will achieve your dreams. So for me, I've actually reinvented myself a few times. I had a mediocre high school career, came out of A levels, barely making it, getting into university, kind of barely making it, and graduating from university, kind of barely making it. One thing that changed, though, for me was joining a company called Ernst & Young. It's now known as EY in Barbados. And there I was inspired by the professionals who showed me that maybe I could be something a little bit more. Maybe I could work hard and take a risk to develop myself. And that is when I started working hard. That is when I started applying myself. That is when I learned that effort is not a dirty word. You see, before that, I was scared of trying because I was mortified of failure. I was so afraid of failure, and I was also afraid of success. Now, some people might think, okay, why would you be afraid of success? The thing about success is you think, okay, if I'm successful, then I need to keep it up. If I do well, then suddenly people's opinion of me will change. And then if I don't do well afterwards, it'll be worse than it was before. So I may as well maintain the status quo. This is what I am. This is where I'm going to stay. Thankfully, that's not what happened with me. And I was able to keep working hard to learn how to start applying that creativity and that courage and that discipline that is necessary to develop that entrepreneurial mindset. So it's been a 20-year journey. And only after finally getting to the point where I realized I had an opportunity to be with the person I felt was going to be my soulmate, it was going to be my husband, I thought to myself, you know what? I have enough confidence in myself at this point to take the leap and trust that all of the skills that I've developed and all of the effort that I've put in over these years will turn out to be something beneficial for me. So I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid to pack my bags and leave the Caribbean, not speaking a word of French. Okay, I could say bonjour and je t'aime. That was about it. That was about it. But I had been building this entrepreneurial mindset step by step, year after year, award after award. Mind you, I was terrified of starting a business. I never wanted to own a business. I loved getting a salary. I loved knowing that at the end of the month, I'm going to be paid. So that was wonderful for me.
The paycheck was definitely on time, right?
I love the paycheck. Love the paycheck. But you know what? As I said before, the entrepreneurial mindset is not just about starting the business, because some people go out there and they start a business without first developing the mindset. So they have the courage to go out and start, but then when the going gets rough, it might fold. They don't necessarily have that power to keep them going. Thankfully, I think I've been building that power time after time, building discipline, working very, very hard in that 20-year career. So when the time came and the opportunity came, when I realized just on a whim that I did have some potential to get into art again, and that sort of happened by accident, actually. I saw somebody on Instagram who's a writer who decided to do a 100-day art project. And I thought, okay, haven't picked up a paintbrush in 22 years, but why not? And I started out just doing little doodles. Then I started with, continued with colored pencils. Then afterwards, I started with some watercolors. And then I picked up acrylics. And I won't lie, my first few attempts were really kind of atrocious. But I was posting it on Instagram. I was keeping myself honest. You know, I was sharing this with the world. I'm doing this project. And something really changed once I started with portraits. Once I started drawing faces, I thought, my goodness, okay, this is fascinating. There's something here. And it was so scary. And this is what happens when we connect with a dream. That's what happens when the seed gets planted, or maybe some water falls on the seed that's there. We get frightened. It's terrifying. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I need to go after this. I need to pursue this. I need to find a way. This is my last chance. I'm now 42 years old. This is my chance to do something with this gift that has been given to me. It's not necessarily developed, but it's now my job to protect it and to develop it and to move forward with that. And this is where the 5 habits for an entrepreneurial mindset come in. And the 5 habits, I'm going to share them off the bat, are 1, become laser focused. And this involves quieting the noise and becoming disciplined. The second habit is to take charge. This is where you say, I am responsible. Only I am responsible. The third habit is to do the work. Effort is not a dirty word. Habit number 4, refuse to play small. Embrace ambition and advancement. And habit number 5, never give up. Always keep going. So I started out, as I said, with habit number 1. I had to become laser focused. I had to get quiet. I put my TV in the basement, and I started getting up between 4 and 4:30 a.m. every morning for quiet time. I needed to quiet the voices in my own mind that were telling me it is ridiculous for a qualified accountant, a former CEO, to be thinking about an art career in her 40s. I had to tell that voice to shut up. Wow. I also needed to learn how to quiet the noise around me. Imagine how my friends and peers and colleagues would start to react when I'm telling them I'm considering doing art for a living. Think about it, okay?
That's the blank stare at the coffee table, right?
Yeah, okay, like, I didn't want to hear it, okay? So this is why I say develop laser focus. To be an entrepreneur, you're going to have courage. And you're not born with the courage. Some people are. I wasn't born with it. Most people aren't. But it's your responsibility to develop that courage. You develop that courage by getting quiet, by meditating, by journaling, through prayer, through planning. You develop that discipline to carve out your own space to think and to do. Okay? If you have an idea for a business, it's your responsibility. Find the time. You need to build up that inner strength that is going to give you the focus to stay the course all the way through. You have an idea. I want to start a bakery, or I want to start a babysitting business, or whatever it is. Don't just run out and start the business. Get quiet. Plan. Prepare. Strengthen your mind. Build discipline. Learn how to do something day in, day out. For over 18 months, I got up between 4 and 4:30 every morning. My husband hated it, but I had to do it because I had to change my mindset. I was coming from a background of, running things and employees and giving orders and shooting off emails and EBITDA and KPIs every day and monthly reporting and flying to New York every month for meetings with the board. This was not going to be that. There was going to be no glamour in learning how to paint, okay? I needed to build the skill, and I needed to find a way to strengthen myself to do that, to start that process. And I believe that it is a key part of any entrepreneurial journey. And I also believe, as I said before, this is something that can benefit anyone. Learn how to get present. Learn how to listen to your own mind. Learn how to be laser focused. To me, that's step number 1, habit number 1 in developing this entrepreneurial mindset.
Joya, I have about 30 questions that's come into the chat group. But you talk about this idea of wearing a straight jacket, and then you talked about the idea of knowing that there's something in you, but not necessarily being able to identify it. And then that search process, it was hidden for 20 years or 22 years. And then when you found it, you found something that took you to a place of discomfort, comfortable discomfort. I think one of our last presenters said he was so sure about something, but so unsure at the same time, but he felt the sureness. And what I want to add is, we talk about that idea of ourselves, putting ourselves in a straitjacket, but you also talked about your friends and not sharing that with your friends because of what their opinions would have been because of the traditional mindset. But these straitjackets come in the place of parents. It comes in the place of friends. It comes in the place of naysayers. It comes in the place of our loved ones in terms of the persons we're in relationships with, because nobody knows you, as you said, the way you know yourself. And I want to go to a couple of these questions here. It says, how did you discover your true passion in art, and how did you turn it into a business? The second one, I'm going to give you 3. It says you transitioned from a high corporate professional to a fine artist. How difficult was it for you to make that shift? And talk a bit of about the process of teaching yourself art and why you chose to do that versus anything else. So those are 3, and then there's a whole list more to come.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to answer this in a way that kind of responds to all 3 at once. As I said just now, just to touch on what you mentioned earlier on, and this is why I talk about the limited mindset. The limited mindset is something that we're all carrying around. Whether we want to believe it or not, we're all living in some form of a straitjacket because we've been influenced by our environment. And environments come with limiting beliefs. We grow up with them. Our teachers tell us what we can and can't do. Our parents tell us what we can and can't do. And we believe it. At some point, we start believing that we have these limitations, whether we recognize them or not. And in a way, it's a good thing, because it protects us. It keeps us from going off half-cocked and any old idea. But it also stops us from achieving our dreams and achieving our full potential. So back to the questions. It was incredibly difficult. But it wasn't difficult from a strategic point of view. It was difficult from the work that I had to do myself. And I believe that this is the core challenge in any entrepreneurial journey. You have to do the inner work first. The inner work is where the challenge really is. Outer challenges can be mastered. But once you master yourself, then anything else happening outside is not going to be anywhere near as much of a challenge. Back to my habit number 1, laser focus. I had to figure out a plan, and I'm still on that plan. And my plan or my goal is to become a world-class portrait artist. Now, your guest just now mentioned 20,000 hours, which is a lot. The rule I go by for mastery is 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. 10,000 hours is approximately 10 years. And the theory goes that it takes about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice in any field, whether it is medicine or music or art, to achieve mastery. So I committed myself to putting in my 10,000 hours. I'm about 1/3 of the way there. I'm about 3,300 hours in. And yes, I do track my hours. I've been tracking it from the beginning. I use apps to track everything that I do every day because I do need to stay focused and disciplined in what I do. And so I am still a student. I don't have a BFA or an MFA. I've never even had an art class. And so I have to be incredibly disciplined in developing my technique and building skills and in learning how to achieve what it is that I would like to achieve as a portrait artist. In terms of from the business side, if somebody is interested in that side of things, I started showing my work right from the beginning. So the very first little scratchy watercolor that I did on a random sheet of paper, I posted it to Instagram. I've been sharing the work with a community right from the beginning. Now, along the way, I actually sort of stopped that because I needed to focus more on my internal work and not be distracted by social media, because social media can be a trap. It can be an incredible tool, but it can also be a trap. So I've limited some of my sharing on social media, but that's one of the ways to actually develop an audience and to find a tribe, especially if you're a very social person who needs that encouragement of a lot of people around you, encouraging you and potentially wanting to buy your work. People don't use the term starving artist for nothing. It's a tough road, but I'm definitely not starving. I'm definitely on track to meeting my financial goals for this year, COVID notwithstanding.
Wow.
So it has been difficult, but the toughest part has been my inner work and to have the discipline to build that skill. It's amazing. I've observed many artists through this COVID period who haven't done any work, and I think to myself, I mean, I paint almost every single day, Saturdays and Sundays. I'm extremely disciplined. I'm extremely dedicated to my craft. And I'm thinking, if you're an artist, this is something that you love and it's also your livelihood. You need to paint, you need to draw, you need to create. Even if you're only doing it on very small canvases or on a very small slip of paper, create. I've been lucky enough to have a full calendar for the past year and booked until March of next year. I haven't had a break. At times it's actually a lot of pressure, but you need to be committed to creating. And before I had my first client, I was painting every day. I was committed to creating every single day. And discipline is not a dirty word. Hard work and effort are not dirty words, which takes me to habit number 3, which is do the work. I want to jump right back into my list of habits. Habit number 2 is take charge. You want to become an artist or you want to become an anything. You want to become a better employee, a better secretary, a better mother. Take charge. Only you can make that happen. You have to say, I am responsible. Sometimes I have an argument with my husband and we have a wonderful relationship and I love him out of this world. We'll have an argument. I'm about to start blaming him in my mind. And then I say, no, I'm responsible. I say mantras every single day, and one of them is I'm responsible for the success of my marriage. I'm responsible for the health of our relationship, not 50-50. I say I'm responsible. So I take charge and I say, okay, what could I have done differently? What can I do differently going forward to take charge of this situation?
And goes back to commitment too, eh?
Absolutely. It goes back to commitment, but sometimes people say they're committed, but they throw their hands in the air and they think they can't do anything. That's a lie. That's a limiting belief and it's a lie. So I encourage you, whether you're an employee or whether you own your own business, COVID, whatever, economic turndown, you get sick, you say, I'm in charge. It's my responsibility to always have that, make it a habit. And that way, when things come your way, you can get quiet, you can become creative, you can innovate because you're no longer a victim. You're saying, I can do this. Now, obviously, certain situations are quote unquote impossible, but that's where pivoting comes in. That's a buzzword now. But it means being able to change direction, turn the corner, and still keep your goal in mind to get where it is you want to get. Okay, and it's a habit. But if you don't develop it as a habit, when the obstacle comes around, the next wave brushes you off course, what are you going to do? You haven't built that muscle. So it's important to build that muscle. Absolutely, every day, it's a muscle. It's not just that some people are built with it and some people are not. And in my talk today, I am leaning quite heavily on the work of Carol Dweck. She is a Stanford professor of psychology, and she wrote a very brilliant and powerful book called Mindset. And she talks about us having either a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And I recommend everyone to go out and read that book, because literally having read that book changed my life. I read it, I don't know how many years ago, and then rediscovered it and rediscovered it and rediscovered it. And I didn't even realize how much I had incorporated it into my life. That's another thing. Do the work also means keep learning. Dedicate yourself to learning. Study your craft, read books, listen to podcasts, do searches on the internet, find out what your competitors are doing, find out what your predecessors are doing. Darren, you mentioned mentorship earlier. I haven't had the benefit of a lot of mentorship in my life, and I'm sure that's my fault. I'm not sure why exactly, but I think I've been mentored by the greats because I read. Okay, in the last 10 years, I've read over 700 books. Okay,
wow.
So those are my mentors. Carol Dweck is my mentor. She's the top of the top. Okay, so she's taught me about mindset. And that's how I've been able to transform my mindset. Because when you read books, you learn from the best. You have those life experiences. At the moment, I'm reading 2 books by Black entrepreneurs as well, because I want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Now that I'm no longer terrified of running my own business, I'm like, okay, I'm now willing to learn how to build a small business and not just how to be a CEO or a CFO directing someone else's business. Should I let you get a word in edgewise there, Darren?
So I just, we're running out of time and the questions are rolling in, but pretty much you've answered so many of these questions. And I'm going to bag one additional question in terms of marketing. And then I'll give you the opportunity to have some final words. But how do you market yourself? I mean, you're booked until March. How do you get yourself out there to the point where you're able to meet your financial goals the way you're doing so now?
You know, honestly, I think I've been very blessed. And this is another thing I'm going to say here. When you say do the work, now, while I was a CEO, while I was a general manager, I was always very much involved in every area of the business. And so I got involved in creating our Facebook page and our Instagram posts. And so I kind of learned how to do social media. I don't think I'm naturally sort of a social media personality. Like, this is something I still, again, you hear my limited mindset telling me, oh, you're not a social media person. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But it's not a skill that I've necessarily developed personally, but it's something that I've never stepped away from. And if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, he's been, I read his book. I don't remember the title, but his name is Gary V. He's on Instagram. He's on everything. He's talked about, and this is back in 2011, he said, get a website. And so, okay, I read his book, I got a website, and I got on Facebook, I got on Twitter. I really got on Twitter. Back then, I built, 40,000 followers on Twitter, just sharing inspirational thoughts, because that's what I was into. And so I would just post inspirational thoughts on Twitter, and somehow the following grew. Now, I don't even post to Twitter anymore, but yeah, the followers are still there. What I will say about social media and marketing is that, as an entrepreneur, if you have a business, it's like a baby, okay? You got to take care of it every day, all right? So marketing, you never switch it off. Marketing is simply making people aware of your business, of you and what you do. And there's so many ways to do that now. And everyone has access. All you need is a phone, and all you need is a social media account. Marketing is also word of mouth. Make sure your friends know what you're doing. And this is why I said, do that inner work first, because that's what builds the confidence. You no longer need to be afraid. I mean, I've met people who have businesses, and I go to their LinkedIn page and they're on there every day, but they still have their job from 10 years ago. I'm like, are you afraid? You're an entrepreneur and you don't want anybody to know that you have this business? I don't get it. Okay, so again, mindset. Okay, mindset is that set of beliefs that guides our thinking, our actions, and our habits. All right, so if we're not doing what we need to be doing, it means that we have some inner work to do. And so that approach can be applied to marketing. I would say that for me, word of mouth has really helped. I've had some clients who have jumped in there, shout out to the Caribbean peeps, because, people I've never met who maybe were connected with me on social media, who have, gotten a family portrait, and then they'll have like a family friend who come on in and get it. And it's amazing. I have shipped my art to 26 states in the United States and, several countries in the Caribbean, to Russia, Ireland, the UK. It's amazing. I mean, the potential is limitless. I am not the greatest artist out there. I'm not. I'm still training. I'm 1/3 of the way there to mastery. So nobody has an excuse. Okay, but I put in those hours. I have worked my butt off and I continue to do so every single day. But the world is at our fingertips. With technology, we can touch the world. All right, so I encourage everybody, just don't be shy, be genuine and get on there. Share what you do, share who you are, and if you're passionate about it, the people will come. Are you still there, Darren? So I'm going to use this opportunity just to talk about the last 2 habits, which would be number 4, refuse to play small. And this has to do with embracing ambition and advancement. All right. As I said, don't be afraid of what you're doing. If you want to grow, it means that you're going to be sharing what you're doing.
Keep on going, Joya.
Okay, thank you. Are we still live or what's happening here?
No, we're still live.
Okay, it means that you're going to be sharing what you're doing with the world and in order to achieve your dreams. And finally, never give up. It means you keep on going no matter what. Challenges will come. There will be an economic downturn at times. Your health may suffer, but you can always keep on going. And
we're able to, join in partnerships and really, really make a significant difference.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to take away from what she said too, which I think is so important for our small businesses to realize, is don't be afraid to fail. Don't get stuck because you're afraid to move because you think you're going to fail.
Yeah, and we have Joya back now. Joya, I'm going to give you an opportunity to just bring some final words to everybody at home. This has been, I have some work to do, Joya. I have to go to my LinkedIn page and update it. You've definitely pushed a button there for me. I was like, I'm guilty of this, but remain laser focused, take charge, do the work. Refuse to play small. I think that's so important what you touched on. And the idea of never give up, loosen up the straitjacket is what you're telling us. We lost you there for just a quick second. We had some technical challenges, but definitely some words of encouragement. Any final words for us?
Absolutely, Darren. It's been such a pleasure here. I just have one last thought to leave with you, and it comes from Howard Thurman. And he was a man who actually mentored, to a certain extent, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And one of the things that he said is that when we leave this world, the ideal situation is to be surrounded by family and by friends, But what if we're about to die, we're there on our deathbed, and surrounded we are by our dreams, by our ideas, by our plans, by our ambitions, the things that we never worked on. So you're there, you're about to die, and all of these things that you could have done, all of these things that you could have been, all of these ideas that you could have implemented are there looking at you with anger and sadness in their eyes and saying, you didn't do this. You didn't have the confidence to follow this plan. You didn't have what it took to start this business. And now we are going to die with you. So I just want to encourage anybody who's listening, if you have something in your heart, and you do, because all of us have a seed, all of us have something unique to bring to this world, don't let it die with you. Get out there, start building a new mindset, and go after that dream that you have in your heart and bless the world.
Amen.
Joy, I cannot wait until COVID-19 has been gone so that you can come and touch so many different countries in the Caribbean to really share your story, share your message, and to share those particular 5 points that you would have given us today. We talked about mentorship, and, you said, Darren, I've never had the mentorship that some of our speakers have spoken about before. But today you're going to be a mentor because you have given up 30 minutes of your time to give to a session to one of our winners. And so Jade Montker, you are the winner for a 30-minute one-on-one session, mentorship session with Joya. I'm sure you're going to learn more, Jade, about the 5 tips in extension as she would have presented today. So Joya, before we had some difficulties, I was speaking to our audience and speaking to Naja here about how proud it is to see someone like you in France, homegrown in the Caribbean, doing some amazing work, but more importantly, living your dream as an entrepreneur, achieving your financial goals, but making certain that you remain resilient, that you continue to fall in love with that work that you have found. And I think many of us have been inspired by this story to move away from our 9-to-5, although our CEO is going to be here in just 2 minutes, to move away from our 9-to-5 and go out there and do the things that we want to follow as it relates to our heart. What's that talent and gift that you have that you're sitting on? And I think you have made some of us comfortably uncomfortable to make a move in our lives. And we thank you for that. Naja, any words from you?
I just want to say how wonderful I thought your presentation was, and how amazing, timely the information that you gave us was. And so just awfully proud of you, and just looking forward to meeting you very, very soon.
Very soon in person, Joy.
Thank both of you so much. And, kudos to BTC for what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with Jade in a mentorship session.
Yes, and I'm definitely going to call Jade and say, Jade, how did you contact her? Because I need to contact her as well. Thank you so much, Joya. Be safe out there. And we wish you...
Darren, I sent you a LinkedIn request like 2 weeks ago. So respond and we'll be in contact.
There you go. You mashed my corn again. I will answer that request and also update my LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Joya. Have a wonderful day.
All the best. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, if you are in Barbados, if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, if you're in Turks and Caicos Island, wherever you are around the Caribbean or around the world, we have been in session 3 of our innovation conference. This has been an amazing conference. We've had some dynamic speakers. David has given us really the idea that we can really step out of our game, make certain that we're unfiltered, make certain that we remain ourselves. Jameel has talked to us about the idea that keeping the dream alive and starting out from a point of 8 years old and starting his business on $7 to now having a storefront, having a wonderful e-commerce based business. And Joya, I think Joya hit it home. We have to be laser focused. In the midst of this process, I love the part where Joya says that, it was a C grade that somebody gave her that discouraged her from ever picking up a brush. And then by accident, she was able to pick the brush up and just really recreate and make something new. So I think it speaks mountains that we're all sitting on a gift that's absolutely amazing, that we've put on the side because someone told us we could not do it. My question is, are you going to be like Nike and just do it? Ladies and gentlemen, we now have our director of B2B operations, who's usually in studio with me, but he decided to join me virtually today. Andre, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. And I do see that we have Gary on as well. So, but I would like to certainly thank our wonderful speakers today. I mean, David Weintraub certainly laid out a plan for all of our customers out there, all of the budding entrepreneurs in the entertainment industry. And certainly, even with the website access that he had provided, I think that it's a wonderful thing, for folks in that particular industry. Cheesecake Heaven, I mean, they make some wonderful cheesecakes, and it's great to see how they are really trying to survive, and not only survive, excel in this during the pandemic as well. Really like the fact that how he stated he had to, and I'll use the word pivot, but change his business to not be, not selling the cheesecake, but moving over to the bread industry, reinventing his business so he could survive. So it speaks to the true testament of an entrepreneur, from Jameel. So that was wonderful. And look, can't say enough about Joya. I mean, it's
amazing.
She was
very inspirational. Love this story. The key from our 5 habits and listening to what she said, what struck me most is perhaps the mindset aspect, making sure that you have the correct mindset. And the wonderful thing is, it's not only about the entrepreneurs, or operating a business, it's you could have the right mindset or change the right mindset in your current business to make you a better employee, a better employer, a better father, a better member of the church. So the whole mindset aspect was certainly mind-blowing to me. And look, again, such a wonderful session from our three speakers today. The fact that, we got Naja in studio with you, Darren, and as always, you've really pulled it together. So really, really appreciate it. I'm sure Gary has a few words to say as well.
Definitely. Over to Gary. This is the man that drops the cannonballs on us all the time and makes certain that we're always getting the job done. But, one thing I like what Joya says is that, we happen to have a CEO that is involved in every part of the business. So, Gary, I'm certain that you were sharing that moment with her because we see you everywhere. I'm not sure if you have the talent of painting, but let's hear more from Garfield Sinclair.
I wish. Hey, thanks a million, Darren. Look, I think Andres wrapped up really, really well. So, it's just for me to sort of deliver the vote of thanks. But yeah, to obviously Nose's point and yours all session long, these speakers have been absolutely inspirational. And I really, really hope that our entrepreneurs and our small and medium business partners are really getting something out of these sessions that we're conducting now for the third week in a row. Can you believe it? It's been 3 weeks, and we still got a couple more to go. But I really hope that we're providing these nuggets of inspiration and a ton of value for our small and medium business customers. Yeah, no, I wish I could paint, Darren. That sort of artistic side of it has not been able to emerge. I'm completely left-brained, unfortunately, but I continue to try to work that right brain for sure. So look, I think all of these sessions have been super inspirational. I think all the speakers have been really inspirational, and that's why we do this, right? We really want to be partners to our small and medium business customers, but we want to be partners to our enterprise customers and our government customers as well. And we provide enterprise and government customers with mission critical services, connectivity, cloud-based services. So I'm hoping they're taking part in these sessions as well, because I think you'll agree, Darren, the kernels of wisdom being imparted are not just for small and medium business customers by any stretch of the imagination. They are life lessons and advice for absolutely everybody. So, I'm hoping that as we develop these sessions over the weeks, we're continuing to build an audience, an international audience, I might add. Again, just crushing this line between opportunity and a crisis. We've innovated with this conference now, making it a webinar, and it's managed to expand our audience, which I'm also super, super proud of. So I want to keep bigging up our BMC team headed by Carol and our communications team headed by Indy. We had Naja in studio there who heads up our small and medium business teams. Big up to her and her teams for pulling this off and getting our small and medium business partners to be involved. I want to remind our small and medium business partners and our enterprise partners and our government partners who might be listening is that our teams are online and ready to chat. So, during these sessions, you can reach out to them and ask them for anything you might need, or, just interact, right? We've got the tools and the technology that is available for you, and we're able to interact with you throughout the session. So let me thank you, first of all, again, Darren, for being the host I call with the most, the way you maintain the rhythm of these conferences, your interaction with all of the speakers, absolutely first class. And the quality of these sessions is in a large part, it's a collaborative effort, but in a large part due to the energy and the intelligence and the level of engagement you bring to hosting these. So I really want to say how much I appreciate it. I want to thank, obviously, our last guests going backwards, Joya Cousin for her ton of inspiration, David Weintraub, obviously, and Jameel Lightburn.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much, Andre. And I'll just say to everyone, and I'll leave you with these words. I think Joy has summed it up so well. Remain laser focused. Remember to always take charge. Do the work. Relax and not allow anyone to allow for you to feel small or allow yourself to play small. And more importantly, never give up. I think David said it well. Make certain that you keep original. Make certain that you remain unfiltered in terms of who you are as a person. And also, I'd say to you these words, Nike says it best. When you think of all the things that you want to do in life, be like Nike and just do it. Another successful day here at the Innovation Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. Same time, same place. This is K. Darren Turnquest signing off.
This year, we're giving you 5 opportunities to get in the know. Just starting a business or need help adapting to this trying time? Then join us every Friday during the month of October from 10 to noon, where we will be live online helping you discover new ideas and solutions from local and international experts to help you get your business moving despite the new normal. Register for free at btcbahamas.com/innovation conference. During every broadcast, there will be chances to win exclusive prizes that will push your business forward. We can't wait to share with you.